everyone, and welcome back to the Three Strangers podcast. I'm your host, Ryan.
Building suspense.
Oh, see, Ryan, you made a fatal flaw. You didn't tell us which one of us was going first. So now we're stuck in a paradox.
Or maybe I did it to cause paranoia between you two.
Oh man.
No, I'm Bell.
And I'm Nick.
Ryan.
And we like to watch movies together, but specifically this episode, horror movies or sci-fi, whichever one you consider. But I think it's both.
Both.
Yeah,
for sure.
Big shout out to our guy Skippy. Of course, he's doing the editing. He's doing so many different things. His own YouTube channel, his music. He is dropping fire content. You gotta check him out. You also gotta check out our boy Sam from Ruminant Music, because he is dropping hot fire. He is composing, he is producing, he is doing everything as the dogs are barking in the background.
Yeah, nice ambiance. Yeah, really.
Yeah. And of course, a big thank you to Nick, who is running our Twitter page and also composed our intro theme.
I love our Twitter page. I look at it all the time. It's so funny.
Thank you.
I do too. I also like when Nick accidentally tweets from his actual Twitter account.
No, Nick gets doxxed.
Yeah, the personal followers are like, "What the hell is he talking about horror movies for?" Yeah,
but boys, not only do we have a crazy episode this episode, but we also have a guest.
What?
Nick, why don't you introduce our special guest that we have?
Yeah, so this is a good friend of mine. We lived together all through college. He's arguably the reason why I'm so into horror movies. He is just finished up his first year of law school at Pace, and yeah, here he is. His name's Dylan. Hello.
Yeah! Woo!
Let's go! Dylan's getting doxxed.
Dylan got doxxed. Yeah, he just finished up his first year.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
Yeah, hey.
We're excited to have you on.
I didn't know that you were the reason Nick likes horror movies or developed a finer appreciation. That's new to me.
Yeah, so Dylan, do you want to tell the story of how this whole thing started between you and I?
Well, it started because we had our like activity was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Fire series.
And then when we finished that, our activity moved on to The Legend of Korra. And then when that ended, when we finished that, we didn't know where to go with.
Yeah, we were just kind of stuck.
That was it. Friendship ended.
Friendship over. And then after our friendship started again, I suggested that we watch horror movies. I asked Nick if he liked horror movies, and that's really
that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Not that exciting, but
yeah.
So then we gotta ask, what was the first horror movie?
That is a complicated question there.
Yes, that is a complicated question. Nick, do you want to answer? Would you like?
Yeah. So the first one we technically watched together was Reanimator.
I love Reanimator. Sorry.
Yeah, and it was a pretty fucked up movie. But it was before we just kind of watched it casually one night. I believe it was a Friday night, and we were looking for something to do, and then we didn't wind up going out at all. I don't know. Maybe we were loners. Maybe we wanted it that way.
Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that. Yeah.
But then once we watched a single horror movie, and then decided, hey, what if we like just watched a whole bunch and like ranked them, and then that's what happened. I believe. Well,
that's just Ryan's YouTube channel. You can't steal that.
Well, I can jump in here.
Yeah.
it's a little more complicated than that even.
Whoa!
That was the first. We watched that one with friends, Nick, if you remember.
Oh, right, yeah.
So
yeah.
the first one we watched, just him and I, like as an activity, was Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Oh, yes, that's the one I was
Great
thinking.
one.
That's the one I was
And
thinking.
love
That's
the
a good
first,
choice.
The first one we watched with the intention of making our ranking was Blair Witch Project.
Mm. Which we have scattered opinions on across
Man,
the board.
reanimated a New Nightmare. I think I hate Blair Witch. Sorry.
Bill hates it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dylan. Like that's a running gag on the show that I do not think that Blair Witch is that good a movie. But I don't want to spend any more time on it because I hate it.
I'm middle ground with it. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I can see why it was famous and why it's very important to cinema, but also I hate them.
Well, and then from there, pretty soon after, we watched, pretty soon close together was Silence of the Lambs and then Sinister,
Okay.
I believe, right?
Well, Silence of the
And-
Lambs. Interesting. Cool. I like that. Yeah.
And after we watched Sinister and screamed a bit, for to be vague, we were kind of hooked. I'd say. Would you?
Oh yeah. Sinister. Nick and I were like little girls. It was pretty funny, and we both noticed it. We both noticed like
Wow.
we are like it was.
That's
it's a
really
scary
funny.
one. It is a
'Cause,
scary
like,
one.
Yeah.
So when I moved into my off-campus housing for my senior year, the first movie that I watched with all of the people in the house was Sinister. Because I was like, it
Wow.
involves a house moving
Wow.
into one. I was like, that's the first one.
Thanks for the invite, Ryan. I wasn't brought on. I wasn't brought on until the descent.
So I'll
Are you
pull out.
kidding me?
I'll pull out the messages right now that say I can't tonight.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. I'm sorry. I had a pretty good track record. I
You
watched
do, you
Sleepaway
do.
Camp with you. I watched Sleepaway Camp. Much to
Sleepaway
my
Camp
dismay.
is the greatest movie of the 80s. But no,
I was about to say, watch your tongue, man. Watch your tongue.
Yeah.
I can think of 80 movies that are literally better than the 80s.
I'm just kidding, because right now, spiciest take of 2021, the all-time greatest horror movie was made in the 80s. And that would be John Carpenter's The Thing.
Okay.
Wow, all-time greatest horror movie. So you're gonna go on record with that?
I'm going on
You're gonna
record
go on
that I
record?
think it is the best horror movie of all time.
That is a bold
And
claim.
that is
It's very
Both
high up.
colors?
Very high up for me. I don't think it is my top. I don't know about you guys. I don't want to speak for you guys, but
well. That is what we're here to discuss. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're kind of so with The Thing. Just 3 years before The Things, technically it was 79, was Alien.
yeah,
Which kind of spurred a whole sci-fi horror alien
love it.
genre, and yeah. So Dylan and I watched The Thing together, I believe. Yeah, we did. I fell asleep in the last 10 minutes.
No, that's the most important 10 minutes.
Yeah, and I think
You're
I woke
sounding
up
like Tina right now.
Sorry.
I like
Oh.
kicked myself with it really, but yeah.
Nick fell asleep, but I was gripped. I was gripped the whole length of the movie. But not to get started too soon. But
Yeah, because I was thinking about it, Nick. I'm like, there's definitely
Yeah,
better.
well, let's get into it.
There's better 10 minutes to miss than the final 10. but sure, yeah. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
literally like just.
So let's get into it.
story
What'd you guys
before we
think?
go into it. Oh, quick story before we go
Oh, yeah,
into
go
it. When my girlfriend Tina, who was on the podcast, and I went to go see It Chapter 2 with friends. She fell asleep at the big climax of the movie where there's like,
Okay,
people
well.
dying and like stuff being exploded and stuff. She literally fell asleep right in that moment. and woke up as soon as all the fighting stopped.
Oh, geez.
Okay, I want to go on the record as an advocate for Tina because I did largely the same thing because the movie did not justify that final fight scene. The rest of the movie, yeah. Part 2 we're talking about. We're talking about part 2.
Oh yeah, part 2. Well,
Okay,
she
okay.
definitely fell asleep in part 1 too. She falls asleep in every single movie that we watch.
Part 1's a little less excusable, but we'll get to those movies someday, I'm sure. But
Yeah, I think the only movie she didn't fall asleep for was Wreck.
oh, that's gotta be good for you. Wait a second, so you're putting the thing above Wreck?
So in terms of my
Uh-oh.
favorite, I like Wreck more. But in terms of what I think is the best of all time,
Okay,
critical, I think The Thing.
that's interesting.
That is pretty bold, but I mean, it's such a. This was such a good watch. I watched it a second time, so I could watch the last 10 minutes, and watching it right after Alien, I felt like was almost a night and day experience.
Really?
To a little kind of turn back the curtain. I hadn't seen Alien ever, so.
Whoa.
I watched Alien the first night, and then I watched The Thing the night after, and I really felt like it was night and day, despite only being 3 years apart.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Dill, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought I watched The Thing first. I watched Alien more recently, and I also hadn't seen it until recently, but it like watching them like not back to back, but it's just interesting how many similarities that you notice, like just the sci-fi elements, the mood of the movies, the animals.
Yeah. Poor
Yeah.
Jonesy. Poor Jonesy. Yeah.
It's both huskies. Oh, I didn't
Yeah, hold
even.
on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Thing. Oh, there's actually a funny thing about the beginning of Thing, but when we talk about it, I'm sure you know, Ryan, if you know the big thing with
I was gonna say I
the
think I know
Swedish
what
guy.
you're gonna be talking about.
Famously for me, Alien was the first R-rated film I ever saw. First one when I was
Whoa.
12 years old. Yeah,
That's a good start, I would say.
deep end,
Yeah.
definitely deep end. I mean, beyond the the really obvious one. I don't think it gets too gory at times. I don't think it really does. Now I'm thinking about it. Thing is definitely a lot more gory.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and I
way
think
more.
that's the main difference between Thing and Alien. How it's very body horror. The Thing.
Oh my
Everything
God.
is very body horror, where Alien shows a lot off screen.
Mental note, we should talk about body horror sometime because I am so polarized on it. We should talk about it, like really David Cronenberg's filmography.
Talk about Society. Do you not know Society?
Wait, are you? Wait. Oh, I thought
that was
I
a
really
reference?
I thought you were making a Joker reference.
No, not a Joker
You're like the
reference.
problem with Society. I was like, what? Wait, Society the movie?
Yeah, okay, hold on. Now I need to make sure that it's the actual name of the movie.
Yeah, because I know some famous Cronenberg. I know there's Naked Lunch, Videodrome.
Yeah, it is. It's called Society. It came out in 1989. It's not
right at his time.
it's not Cronenberg. It's
Okay.
Brian Usna.
Oh, he's like number 2.
Yeah.
After Cronenberg. That's funny. Yeah, we definitely got to talk about those sometimes because I recently watched Videodrome with friends and we are super polarized. I'm not gonna reveal my opinion. But yeah. So we want to start with talking about Alien. We still want to start with talking about Thing. I feel
Let's
like maybe
start-
Thing, right?
With
Or
Thing,
you want to go in order?
I was
Oh,
gonna
you
say
want-
let's do Alien because it came out in '79, and then we could talk about
Okay.
what the Thing did similar, what it changed, what
Sure.
because I think Alien is such a monumental movie to sci-fi as well as sci-fi horror.
Aesthetics of horror.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. So Dylan, let's start with you. So Alien, just what do you think of it? Full on spoilers. You could spoil anything you want. There's a cat in
Alright.
it, Boom, spoiled.
One would hope so. Yeah, one would hope.
All right, I'm gonna start with the first thing that jumped out to me, and it makes sense because this movie, it released in the wake of Star Wars, and
Yeah.
Oh.
and
Yeah.
it just I got immediate Star Wars vibes from just the design of the Nostradamo, all the switches, the like all the lights. It reminded me a lot of the inside of the Millennium Falcon. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
got a lot of Star Wars vibes right off the bat. But and another thing is, and this is something that with the thing does well is just it keeps you on edge. It really puts you in an uncomfortable place throughout the middle to end of the movie. And I really think that is like that's what like I enjoy the most about it, is that it was able to put me in this like really uncomfortable place, but I was still enthralled and like still glued to my TV, even though it was so creepy, for lack of a better term.
So it's really interesting that you say that about Star Wars. There's that shot. I think the opening shot of the movie is Nostradamus above the top frame.
Oh,
which is
yes.
very similar to the beginning of Star Wars, with the Imperial ship just flying into as as a space and sound effect goes by, and I immediately thought, I'm glad you said that because there is a lot. Yeah, there is a lot of similarity. I don't know about you guys. I'm kind of nervous to say this. I actually think the pacing seemed slow for Alien.
For me, it was just enough. It definitely toes the line. It definitely toes the line. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I think it builds up. I'd say the payoff is very good for its build up. But I do agree that it is very slow, unlike The Thing, that you have paranoia, boom, right off the bat.
Right off the bat, yeah, gradually build. And I think like having that back, comparison directly, The Thing I think automatically like does pacing much better because there isn't the gradual build for Alien seemed to start 25 minutes after the movie started, whereas The Thing is relatively 5 minutes in.
I really liked the pacing personally.
I do too.
I thought it was kind of perfect for the atmosphere the movie was trying to accomplish, and I thought it was so like visually interesting that that the like build up didn't really bother me.
Okay. Interesting. What do you guys think of the acting?
For Alien or for the
For
Thing?
Alien, yeah, for Alien.
Generally pretty good. I have a lot to say, so like I'll like save my like stuff
Okay.
for the when it gets to be my turn. But I don't know if you have any opinions on it, Ryan.
I think it's fine.
Just fine.
Nothing stuck out where I was like, oh, that's bad acting. I don't think there's any moments where I was like, wow, that was really bad.
Yeah, I think Sigourney Weaver is a standout. Oh. Do you have something? Do you have something you want to say?
I do, yeah. And Sigourney Weaver now, okay, her acting performance gets much better throughout the end, and by the second, I'd say by the last third of the movie, it's great. But to me, it seemed like the crew as a whole wasn't taking the situation seriously enough through their acting until it was too late. Because I tried to place like they're in a spaceship and they're alone and they go to this planet pissed off because like they were told to do so, and then they can't. Suddenly they seem like they're stuck. Like at that point, to me, I expected them to panic, and yet tones of voice were all the same. They were low, and I couldn't imagine that every single person on board would be just this relatively monotone reaction.
So then I
Well,
raised the question,
Yeah.
do you think it's direction then? That it's not specifically on the actors? Do you think it was the direction that Ridley Scott wanted?
I I I think that's arguable. Yeah. Perhaps that's what it was. He told them all to collectively be that way. To me, it didn't fit the logic of the movie.
I thought the
Or
So
the tone, not the logic,
yeah,
the tone of the movie.
yeah.
At least
No,
at the beginning.
no. I want to hear what Dylan has to say.
I don't know. I thought other than Sigourney Weaver, obviously, I thought the performance of Parker, I believe his name was.
Yeah.
I thought he was like. I
Mm-hmm.
thought he nailed his role. His
Yes.
role being the like just the guy who's like no BS, like
Mm-hmm.
just the foil to all of like the procedural like almost military like personality of the other characters.
Mm.
So I really like Parker's performance. I don't know the
Mm.
actor's name, but
Yeah. I agree with you. I think after Sigourney Weaver, the two best actors in the movie are the maintenance guys. Closely followed by Captain Dallas. I remember, I forget the one Lambert, I think, the one woman's name. I would think if we're like talking about like if we're gonna get critical of acting, she is the worst actress in the movie.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think
the worst
Ash,
acting scene.
Ash is also very good. Sorry, continue.
The worst acting scene came from her. I think there was
Yeah.
that one moment where she was just in the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
and they're fighting, but they're not yelling.
Yeah, it's not real.
No, that was the one scene where like that whole exchange happened. And I was like, to me that seemed pretty bad.
Do you
Like,
know
at
what's
that
really
point-
interesting about that?
What?
Lambert is actually one of the actresses who won an award for her performance in the movie.
Really?
She won the
Bullshit.
Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actress for her performance.
Bullshit.
She
I don't
won
know.
over
Who is
I
that?
believe that.
Who is
I
that?
believe
Who is that, Ryan? Who's that? Who's the woman who plays it? She's famous, kind of.
Veronica Cartwright. She was in oh my god, she was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
also related
that's
to a
right.
famous Cartwright. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
she's much better in that.
Yes.
I believe that. Just I do agree with your point, Nick, but I think she absolutely redeems herself in the scene where the alien is attacking her, and in a scene where she doesn't have any or minimal dialogue, she just nails it. When she freezes and you see her facial expression, it's so believable. And Parker is also believable, screaming at her to move.
Yeah.
And nailing those emotions and like so
Yeah.
So, here's my big thing. And I'm sorry, Nick. What's up?
no go
Oh, sorry, doing Louisa.
I agree. Like, yeah.
Okay.
And Ryan, you said the thing about the direction, and maybe that's true. Maybe it was the direction of the beginning that I don't agree with, and that's why it was that collective. Because I agree. I mean, Parker, I agree that he's probably the second best performance, and it just seemed like everything was turned up towards the end of the movie, which made it intense. It was a very, very good last 45 minutes. But it almost felt like there was a switch that was made. It's like they finally realized, like, oh shit, this is serious. As if that's what the direction was. It wasn't serious when they first saw the alien. It was serious after, and when somebody first died.
Mm-hmm.
Like the second was murdered by it, rather than the famous scene.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I started thinking more like that after watching actually Spiral, which I just recently saw, because a lot of people I've been seeing people say Chris Rock was horrible. He was a terrible actor in this movie. I don't agree with that at all. I think direction had a lot to play with it because it was very inconsistent, everything. Like, it felt like the director was like, okay, Chris Rock, you need to chill with all these corny jokes that you're saying right now, and you need to be a little bit more serious. Like, It felt
So-
like it felt like some characters in the beginning of Alien needed a little bit of that, a little bit more direction than what was probably given.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a big blanket statement about the two movies, and like we like it'd be awesome if we could maybe like talk about this a bit more in depth. But the thing is that okay, so Alien is the future according to the 1970s, right?
Yes. Right.
And
yeah.
and it's
With
like
Mother
it's
and
like
everything.
20 it's like I think it's supposed to be like 2300 or something, right? But the thing is that both of the movies have this thing where everyone is isolated. And obviously they're either isolated in the spaceship or isolated in Antarctic research station. It's Antarctic. It's not Arctic, right?
Yes. Yeah. They're
Okay, okay.
they're in Antarctica.
Okay, right.
Yes,
It's not
yeah.
Arctic. Okay. So the big thing is that my thing is that while they're very similar in the thing, I think something that Alien does really well, and this is Ridley Scott, I think more of like a cinematography thing and more of a set design thing, is that it feels very claustrophobic. Kind of always. And I think there's like this thing with like bright lights and kind of like the big thing is that the Nostromo is not a good place to be. It's not a good place to be. Like you like look around, it's like gross. Can you imagine like spending like months and months and months on like a ship that was like that? And the thing is that I thought something that was very interesting is that they're like waking up from cryo sleep. And the thing is that normally they would not be spending so much time awake, and they would not be spending so much time in the thing. So when they actually have to like do all this stuff, it's kind of a break from normal for them. And so some of the acting I almost associate with, like maybe like they're just sort of like the space equivalent of like seasonally depressed. I don't know how SAD works in space when there's literally no freaking light whatsoever.
I don't know. Yeah.
So
Right.
my thing is that I think while it's a little interesting, while the thing is literally pure paranoia, when the thing is pure paranoia because you cannot trust the people that you're with, Alien is because of Ash is also kind of like that. But I guess my big statement is where does the human drama work better for you? Does it work better when it's a like Alien versus it gets a little mired because of Ash and because of the wishes of the company. But so does it work better when it's like external alien threat and sort of external company threat versus the crew, or does it work better for you guys in the thing when it's like an infiltrator? What is it like for you guys in terms of acting and in terms of the stakes of the movie? I'm interested to hear this.
I'd say I'm going to go out there first and say the thing.
Okay.
Because you truly don't know who to trust, and you could assume right off the bat of the movie that the dog is a thing. You kind of know. And it goes into the room and you see the silhouette and then it kind of fades away and you're like, who is that? You're never told who. Even later on in the movie, you just don't know. Certain people are infected or have, become the thing, but you never know. And I think it's that paranoia that you really don't know who to trust that just brings it. I think Alien does it very well. And I know we're saying a lot of like not negative, but like being very critical of Alien. We both think these are fantastic movies. And
I'm
I
going to
just
go
want
out
to
with
put that
my
out
thing.
there.
I think Alien is better than the thing, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, I just want to say I'm definitely. I think in terms of what it does in terms of aesthetics for me, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah. So
Jill, what about you?
yeah. What about you, Dylan? Yeah.
Wow, this is a tough question. And as Ryan was answering, and I was listening to what you were saying, but also trying to come up with an answer for this question because I don't really know. I think the way I looked at it before you answer the question was they were using these two means to the same end. So the thing was using the paranoia to make the viewer uncomfortable versus Alien was using the claustrophobia to make the viewer uncomfortable. And the just the invader aspect. One thing I want to point out is that I think in The Thing the stakes are higher because they can't let the Thing reach the rest of the population. Versus an Alien, it's just the lives of the crew members at stake.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think
the company wanting to use the xenomorph as a bioweapon.
Well, right, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, that's true. Okay, so scrap that part. But
well, no. I agree with you though. I agree with you. The stakes are much clearer in The Thing. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. The ship still has to make it back with the alien. I'll save my point there for the weapon to be effective. But I'm curious to hear what Nick thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's The Thing. I think The Thing is much more complex. I think when it comes to human interaction and human emotion, whereas there is the claustrophobia of Alien, but it's very subjective, and it's on a ship with an alien, and then that monster slasher subgenre kind of kicks in, and they're trying to escape the monster or kill it. Whereas I think with The Thing, there's a lot of human dynamics that come into play with the loneliness, with the paranoia, with the foreign invader. Norway. It starts off with who are these people, and what happened to them? Why are they shooting at a dog? From there it like gradually builds and answers itself as the movie goes on, and yet you see the cast spiral with paranoia, and I feel like that to me is a much more because it's much more of a complex emotion that they're tackling rather than fear, which is just instinctual. I think The Thing does it for me more for engagement.
I know my big thing with The Thing is that I think at times the human drama almost kind of bullies the thing of the movie, because the thing is that there could just be a murderer. Right? There could just be a murderer on the station, and it would work like largely the same way, other than the fact that the thing like has like extreme powers that a normal murderer wouldn't have. I would say that at its worst, the thing almost gets to the level of being like I don't care, just somebody kill someone already. And at its best, which is, for me, absolutely the best scene in the movie, the blood sample testing scene.
Yes.
The blood
is
fantastic. That is between the two of those movies. Well, I guess it's hard because like the alien chest burster thing is definitely the more famous one. I would say that I loved the blood testing scene of the thing. I thought it was fantastic. I thought that was great. Holy shit.
It's so logical. It's so logical based on the logic that's created.
Yeah.
And whereas I felt like that fell flat a little bit with Alien. Not that it failed, because there were times where you could say, okay, fear would make you do that. But there were some times where I had to question, would that be what happened? If somebody was being strangled by something on their face, would their leg be what you go after and not the thing strangling the person? You know, with the face scene with the you know what I'm talking about? The scene
where like prodding it and stuff.
Yeah, they're prodding and it's on his face and wrapped around his throat, and they decide to go after the leg, which the acid comes out, and not the tentacle that's suffocating the person they're trying to save. To me, it was like, why? If you were a doctor, why not the throat be the first thing you're going after?
I mean, if you have logic issues, I mean, it's an alien life form. I think they were just seeing how it would respond to stimuli. But I mean, no, I totally agree with you. I totally agree that like could definitely be seen as a fallacy.
I think a reason they do that is because of the acid. If it's over the throat and they prod it and acid comes out, then that character's dead. You don't have the chest bursting scene. So,
but they don't know the acid.
They don't. That's like
right, because it's almost like with that explanation, it means that the characters knew before, but they didn't. It's just
True.
that the writers knew before.
But
Whereas sometimes, I mean,
yeah.
that's like a fundamental thing with any movie, but to me it feels there's logic based on what the characters would do, and then there's logic based on what the screenwriter wants. I feel like those are two different things sometimes.
I don't know if this is an issue for you guys, but unequivocally for me, Kurt Russell is like fantastic in The Thing. However, I really struggle to connect to any of the other characters. I struggle to get invested in them. They're not as memorable for me. And I think that's because there's so freaking many of them at times.
That's
because there's like 13 or 14, right? Or something versus
There's a lot.
It starts
There's a
out
lot.
quite a bit.
There's a
Yeah.
lot versus the like 6 or 7 in Alien 7, 8. I mean, where does Ash fall on the spectrum? But yeah. So that was my thing. I mean, when it gets to the end and there's only like a few invested parties left, then I'm definitely in there. But for the first few bits, I think the first time when I was really like, holy crap, was the incineration scene outside.
Yeah.
Where I was
With
like,
the
holy
circle.
crap. I'm starting to get invested, but that's when shit really started to hit the fan, you know. So
Yeah, I think so. Just quickly going back to what you were saying with that kind of fundamental thing. Why would they go for the leg and not the throat? I think in The Thing we have smarter characters, and by that I mean I feel like every decision that they made in The Thing, it was like, okay, I can completely understand why you're doing this,
research scientists.
which is so rare in a horror movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's always
Yeah,
like, man,
yeah.
I think I just saw something move. I'm gonna go to my attic with a clothes hanger. Fight it off. It's like, what?
However, people in The Thing make mistakes. They make
They
a
do.
lot of mistakes.
Oh, they
They
do.
make
It's very
fatal
fun,
mistakes.
which is
But
very
it's
fun. That's good.
But it's paranoid. It's paranoid mistakes, whereas
Yeah.
not just character flaws. It's paranoia. Perfect explanation.
I like the locked up area. I forget what part that is, but the quarantine area. I sure hope The Thing doesn't pick off the person you've decided to separate. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. But
Oh my god, I love that scene where it. Oh my god, what's his name? It's the dude they leave in the room to be by himself.
so
And
sad.
Or it's not. I mean, the scientist or whatever.
Yeah,
the
it's
expert.
the diabetes dude.
Yeah. Well, you're kidding. That's Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, this is Wilford Brimley.
You're
Wait, really? It's the
joking.
same
Yes.
guy?
It is.
Joking.
Dead serious.
Oh wow. Oh, I didn't put that
Okay,
together.
that's so
If
funny
you-
because he.
If you watch the movie, like after they like quarantine him and he's like by himself, they go back to him to make sure like he's still there, and they ask like if he's seen anyone. And if you see when they open the window and look in, there's just a tied noose hanging like
Yes.
from the
Yes.
from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yes. Which okay, I mean you're laughing at, but to me that's also where the complexity of the thing comes in. It's like isolation and paranoia combined made this guy contemplate his own death. And it's a mystery whether he had it or not, but he was so convinced that he was okay and that he was healthy and he wasn't,
Yeah,
Did-
he's just
he
like
wasn't
eating
the
something
thing.
in there with like the noose hanging. He's like, "Are you gonna let me out?"
yeah.
Just it's such a
I
good
don't-
dark like comedy moment, too.
Yeah. It dark comedy, but then really like tackling
How do you
that
guys?
depression.
How do you guys feel about Alien's statement on corporate America? What do you think about that? Aliens.
Can you elaborate that?
So the thing is that they are part of a mining force, right? They go to planets and mine and go by the thing. Very interesting. And this is something that's always pissed me off about Alien. We like never get a scene where they're like fucking around in like the ore repository. There's no like big rock like thing that you can do or anything. My
Yeah.
thing is that they famously work, which is talked about, in much thing for a corporation called Wayland Yutani, right? And the big thing is that while, and maybe I'm getting a bit more into the thing of what would come for the later Alien movies, but they were diverted to that planet on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That was planted.
Yeah.
That was planted. And
Yeah.
you can kind of get that impression even in the original movie because that ship has not been active in like centuries, right? And so the thing is that they are being led to go there to pick up an alien, or what they expect to be an alien, and the crew is bait. The crew is bait.
I'm gonna probe that a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
No pun intended with the probe.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think we've talked about this before, but if a sequel has to justify the events of a first movie, does it justify the movie, or does it?
Here's the thing though.
The flaws?
It's self-contained because they literally have to go to the mother computer. Do you remember this?
And then find out in the first movie that they're off course.
Yes, and it's a whole big thing, and you find out that Ash is in on it. It's self-contained.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's self-contained. So, what do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Go on, Dylan. Go.
I didn't see it that way. I thought it was more a military commentary, just on the use of the weapon as the alien as a weapon.
True.
Maybe the corporate part went over my head, but just real quick, I want Bill. You made a claim. You said that, and then you hesitated. You said that the blood testing scene was the best, and then you said you hesitated. I will not hesitate to make that claim. I think out of the two movies, that is the best scene.
It is fantastic. It's fantastic. I'd have to really analyze to get you my answer. It's really good, though. I love Kurt Russell in that scene.
I will raise one scene, being with the defibrillator. When he's gonna, because
it's so famous though.
Yeah.
Oh, the fucking weird head thing. Remember that?
Yeah, they're like scraps out of them.
That's so gross. Oh my god.
Yeah,
that's so weird.
I could kind of see it. I mean, you know the meme that's going around with like recruitment officers, and then them like people saying the meme back of like, I'm not gonna fight for an oil company.
Like,
yeah. True.
That's what I saw it as too. Yeah, the mining other foreign places.
Mm-hmm.
True, and it's a thing like it's the point I guess is that it's a runaway military-industrial complex. They're a megacorp. And I guess what's interesting is that there is no subtext of that in the thing. Like it's pure like we are like just surviving, you know. I think it's kind of interesting. Do you think it's to the film's credit that they specifically labeled the thing as an extraterrestrial entity? Because I thought it was a research experiment gone wrong when I first saw the movie. But then they placed it very solidly like, no, this came from a spaceship. Here's the spaceship covered in ice. Here's the blown out Norwegian?
We're talking about the thing.
We're talking about the thing suddenly, yes.
You could see it because in the beginning of the thing, you see the spaceship.
Right. Yeah, that's the first scene.
Yes. Well, when they go to the thing. Very, very funny. Sorry, there's a quick side note. They used the blown up research station at the end of the thing for those scenes. So those scenes where they're at the blown out Norwegian station are the last scenes that they filmed.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, saving money. John Carpenter, saving money. I'd love to do a John Carpenter retrospective. He's great with that.
It's crazy because, like, as you guys probably know, this movie famously, like, failed at the box office.
And the thing failed?
Yeah, the thing failed. And
I didn't know that.
It brought John Carpenter to, like, a really bad depression. He was just trying to get any job that he could directing because he didn't know if his career was over because of it.
Okay, that is not the movie that should end your career. That's fucked up. What? That's fucked up. I didn't know that. That thing is fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, and it took a few years for people to be like, you know, let's go back and watch it again to finally like appreciate it and absolutely love it.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think a lot that's attributed to the fact that the thing released around the same time as E.T. and E.T. stole a bunch of viewers from the thing. So
the thing would murder E.T.
Well, I think who would win? Who would win?
Yeah, who would win a fight? E.T. or
that's true.
Or the fucking
you know,
thing.
that's a really good point.
I just want to go out on the record. I fucking hate E.T. And now I hate it even more. Now I hate it even more. So we can go on the thing.
That's a little bit of a classic, but
No, not for me. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna say like, okay, I'm gonna bring the thing like here. Okay. Blair Witch, I'll make concessions on. E.T. is the hill I die on. If we want to talk about that someday, I'm gonna prepare a thesis. But I'm back.
You know what's so great is, Bill, you just moved your camera closer to you and defended Blair Witch as if it was the Blair Witch scene of moving the camera closer.
Yeah, and we will get to our Steven Spielberg retrospective. Oh Lord, am I gonna go in on it? But no. Famously, I've been told I'm like a contrarian for not liking E.T. thing. No, I've had this debate with so many people, but like we'll get there. We'll get there. I don't want to talk about E.T.
Bill saw the bike like floating in the air, and he was just seething with the rage.
Oh my God. I'll save it. I'll save it for when we talk about Steven Spielberg. But I mostly like his stuff. Famous failure for me. I love Encounters of the Third Kind, but I don't want to talk about those movies. I want to talk about.
Oh my God! I was really afraid you were gonna say you didn't like.
No, I love Close
Encounters.
Okay.
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 So I have a
we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back
we'll go to that.
to talk about more things about The Thing and Alien. And we are back. Sorry, Nick, for cutting you off before our break, so you could go into whatever you want to talk about.
Honestly, I don't remember what I was going to say, but I do have a question for you all, and this is what I think something immediately bothered me about Alien. So you have the famous scene, and the hand out of the stomach, really good scene, not gonna lie, you can't really argue that. Can't really argue against it, I mean, but then the alien pops out as a baby.
Yeah.
Scurries along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why the hell does it get so big so fast?
Okay. So this is kind of the thing where you might need the context of the other movies. It didn't really bother me. They just reach killing maturity quickly because they're bioengineered. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't really have much of a problem with it. I think they remark on it. They're like, how the fuck did it get so big? It was just like a child before. They do remark on that.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't have too much. It's an alien, you know.
I mean, Nick, if you can accept that it changed from that face hugger into the baby alien,
To the test
I think it's a lot, or it's easier to accept it growing. But
that's fair.
I know we don't have a biologist on our staff. I'm just a geologist.
Well,
we gotta get Tina. We have to get Tina.
Ask Tina, what is the advantages of the alien breeding in the way it does? It seems so goddamn complicated. It's ridiculous. But anyway.
Oh my God. Oh.
I also have a couple other questions. Maybe, I don't know. Just questions that bothered me. Two. There's a few. Two, why did they reuse the scene that looks like Star Wars? They used it 3 times. That clip, they used it 3 times.
Budget.
But yeah, I figured it's a budget issue.
Good luck making a movie like that in 1979. You know, like, you know.
Yeah. No, yeah.
You gotta reuse some clips and stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's fair. Also, flamethrower in the air shaft.
Okay.
Doesn't that seem a little bit like an explosion hazard? If you're in an air shaft with condensed air and you ignite something?
Maybe, but also the Thing has stuff on their station that they use to blow up the station, and they do it kind of easily. It's like one of those things.
What?
Like, I assume that. What? Sorry, what's up, man? Sorry.
Well, yeah, I think the explanation for there is that they were ice. They were in Antarctica, and dynamite's used to do studies. Geologically, right? The dynamite is used.
Not anymore, but but in 1982, I bet. I'm sure. In 1982, it was. Yeah. But
if Bill wants to use the Thing to prod Nick's question, I'll do the same. Why do they, in the beginning where they're in the kennel, or the Thing is in the kennel, they use a flamethrower. I think they're in a wooden room with like
That's
straw
true.
That is
on
yeah.
the
oh
floor.
so true.
How about extinguisher?
Horrible logic. Yeah.
But we'll just blow with the extinguisher and it goes out. That's video game logic.
Right.
Yeah, you're talking wrong.
It's out.
They said, "Let me make sure my distance to the wall isn't close enough to create the fire for the wood, but enough to get the target."
Do you guys? This is Dylan and Nick specifically. Do you guys know the thing about the thing that spoils the entire movie? Do you know about this? You guys don't know this thing on the thing? I'm sure
No.
Ryan
I
knows.
think so.
I don't know if you want to explain, Ryan, but it's pretty fun.
Are you talking about the prequel?
No, I'm talking about. Wait, do you not know about this?
Well, the
Wait, what are
prequel
you
was
talking
good.
about?
Okay.
Okay,
The prequel's
what
a good
I'm
concept.
talking about. So, okay, so. Oh, all right. Oh, okay, logic of the thing. Why are you shooting at a dog from a helicopter? How the fuck are you gonna make that shot? But the thing is that they run up, right? They run up, and the dog is like behaving nicely to the American crew and the Norwegian guy. I keep forgetting because they keep referring to like oh the fucking Swedes or something like that, and it's
it's not the Sweden, it's Norwegian.
it's the Norwegians, and
Yeah.
and so they go, and the Norwegian guy is speaking very quickly in Norwegian to them, right? And they're like, we don't fucking know.
Oh
what you're
yes,
saying.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
now. Yeah.
yes, and if you know Norwegian, which I'm sure very
Everybody
few
does.
American, yeah, I can't even imagine how many American moviegoers knew Norwegian in 1982. But he pretty much like says everything they know about the thing, which if they knew everything that he had said, it would have been like a null issue. They could have just killed the thing right away. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of sad in a way, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But
And like after you watch the prequel for the thing and kind of find out which character is which, you find out that his name is Lars.
Lars.
Who ends up getting domed.
Because I forget exactly. Yeah, what's up?
So, no, go ahead, Bill.
No, I was gonna say I think he says like something to the equivalent of like, yeah, that thing isn't a dog; it's an extraterrestrial being. It you can kill it with fire. It will pretend to look like people. Like he gives like the fact sheet on the thing.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
they had to blow up their base, much like they have to do at the American thing. But sorry, continue.
I think it's I totally get how that would be huge to a spoiler, but I also think it plays into the foreign influence kind of thing of that understanding. And they use Norwegian. They don't use like something really common. They don't use they could have used Italians or French or Spanish even, but they don't because it's so common. And also, do you guys notice in that beginning scene? I didn't realize this until after the movie. After I watched the movie a second time, but the beginning, the guy, starts off with it's trying to shoot the dog, which is like, what? That's pretty screwed up.
Yeah, fucked
but
up. Yeah.
He also throws the dynamite back and explodes the helicopter, killing the pilot because, as a reveal, that he's also paranoid. But it all happens so fast that you go, oh man, a lot of people just died. These strangers just died. I think it's a really good way of starting that paranoia there as what the hell just happened.
It really, to support you, Nick. Yeah, the thing is that suddenly that guy just lost all his credibility. And the Americans are like, we're going to kill, like we killed him justifiably. This guy was insane. Yeah, no, very effective. Very kind of sneaky. I like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And I think
really
I think our last thing that we really should talk about, like our big picture thing, is isolation. How they're both played in both movies and how it influenced many different movies to come. Just that main theme. And some of what people consider the greatest horror movies of all time, how they play off the theme of isolation. I mean, we look at The Shining. People refer to that as the greatest horror movie of all time.
I love to talk about
Isolation.
someday. I love to talk about The Shining.
Let's compare the isolation aspect of both horror movies. So Dylan, let's start with you. So when you think of The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, and its isolation, what do you think?
It's just such a great tool to create the mood of the movie. It's just and it sets up the ending so well, where they know they're screwed. They know they're stuck. They don't know if either of them are a thing, and they just share that drink. It's the thing uses isolation so well. I don't know. That's kind of a basic interpretation of it, but it's pretty flawless in its execution of isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and also like, basic things are like, so important to know. Yeah, we don't need intricate, it's at the very root of the movie. Isolation. People are paranoid because they're isolated. There's no help. We get that right from the beginning, that there's no one going to be coming to help them. They're by themselves. There's this weird thing trying to kill them that's with them. Full on paranoia, no help, isolated. And it takes place in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Who's living there?
Right.
Penguins.
But at least it takes place on Earth, which is something I'm going to get to later. Yeah.
Which I think is the connecting factor that Bill, you just make, is like I think it's isolation that's so much more relatable, because you can watch Alien and be like, wow, people on the moon, that would be scary, or people on the moon, that would be scary. But because Antarctica is here on Earth, it's much easier to relate, and the fact that things that have already existed, things that are already invented, get destroyed, like helicopters. Everyone's familiar with a helicopter. What happens if your helicopter gets destroyed? What happens if the signal gets jammed? Because you're in the middle of Antarctica, like, it's all justified. Oh, because they're in the middle of nowhere, literally, they can't reach anybody else. And Antarctica is seriously in the middle of nowhere on Earth. And I think it's so interesting that even though they're isolated, or even though they're already isolated, they choose to isolate the expert because he's going crazy. And honestly, I interpret that a couple ways. One way is like, yeah, maybe he's got the thing, but the other way is he's destroying everything in the cabin right away. And to me, it was like, oh, we need to stop this guy from destroying everything we have, because to them, they didn't know the full picture yet. And so they chose to isolate even further before the paranoia gets to all of them. So I think it's almost like they create this control group of one and then have themselves. Does that make sense?
I think something interesting to point out is how similar this movie is to, like, the current day with Rona. The isolation, the fear factor of not knowing at the beginning of who has it, people not knowing fully what it is.
Okay, yeah, maybe in March. Yeah, I'm definitely not feeling. If the thing was real,
anymore.
If the thing was real, I would not be going anywhere. But okay, yeah, maybe in early March. Yeah, when
stuff wasn't fully, like, you don't know what, we just know it's this sickness. I think you could kind of compare it to kind of like that as a real world application now.
Yeah.
I think my big thing, and it's funny. I feel like I'm playing the devil's advocate against the thing. And I don't mean to be. I have gone back and forth between these two movies my entire life. I think I had a thing phase where I bought, like, an original movie poster. I gotta figure out where that is, and it's great. It's one of my most prized possessions. My big thing, my big thing in isolation is the thing is excellent in its use of sort of the situation where you have to be isolated like, because if you're in the wrong room with the wrong person, you're screwed. And that only becomes more and more of a thing later. So that's excellent in terms of that. But my thing with Alien is that it's not so much. There's like the old literary like themes, you know, like God, like man versus man, man versus God. And the thing is that while the thing I think is man versus nature in the thing, and man versus man because they don't know who to trust, I would say Alien is man versus nature in terms of the alien, but also man versus circumstance. And the big thing is that nobody wants everybody on the ice station on Antarctica to die. If help could come, help would come. The thing is that they have that situation. The big part, which I think makes Alien almost heartbreaking in a way, is that they're all supposed to die. They're all supposed to die, and they're supposed to come to the Earth, and they want to see they want to see what the alien does. And the thing is that the only way that Ridley manages to escape the alien is literally by blowing up the ship. Blowing up the ship. That's the only way. And even that, you figure out later, is not enough. It's not enough because the alien is much more intelligent than they had suspected, and that's why it was able to like sense its own thing. So I think in terms of isolation, I would say isolation exists in the thing between people, interpersonal isolation. But I think the isolation of Alien is of a different sort, where it's sort of like you're abandoned. You're abandoned by the people that were supposed to be supporting you. And I think that's a very different type. Not more or less effective, just different. I talked for a long time. I'm sorry.
No, that was really good. That was really
good.
That was
Thank you.
perfect.
Thank you.
Great, great dive into that.
Sorry. I just went on a tangent. I do not dislike the thing. I just really like Alien a lot, so I'm going back and forth. But yeah.
I think Dylan, you were about to say something. I think.
Yeah, and Bill touched on this, but and talked about the alien. But both movies, I think it was interesting how the isolation leads to desperation.
Yes.
So, like and it's really similar in both movies. Their desperate solution is to blow up the base and blow up the ship.
Oh yeah.
Another similarity between the two movies.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting how the isolation leads to desperation and how both films use that to pace the movie. As you can see slowly how they become more and more desperate, especially in the thing where their methods become more drastic as the movie goes on, and they start blowing more stuff up, and until the whole base is a flaming wreck.
Yeah.
But
I think it's so interesting that you bring that up because they're both very similar circumstances, but lead to both very different. They're caused by different thoughts. Like for the thing, they're like, we're gonna die, so we're gonna make sure that this doesn't infect the whole population. And Alien, it's like, I'm a dip. The alien can chill in the ship and die. I want to survive. You know. So it's interesting how both lead to the same thing, but they were thought of by different thought processes.
I think I love. What were you gonna say? No, I was just gonna say I love the ending of the thing. I think it's so good.
Yes. Yeah.
They're just saying that, but the ending of Alien is also great because it's just like it's sort of like the log. You know, you get the log versus you get like the two guys just chilling. They're just having a brisky. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I think we touched on this before, and I remember Dylan and I when we first watched it, we really loved the humanity, the destruction of humanity potential if they didn't figure it out, because it definitely. I think it's what a horror movie doesn't ever. There aren't a lot of horror movies out there that touch on this, that they create something. The writers have created so successfully something that absolutely could take over the Earth, and it's cited and it's researched that it shows the cells. It it justifies it using its own science and logic. And I think that's why the ending is so great. Is because we're doing this for humanity, like Bill, like you said, Bill, and I think it's that seriousness that truly wins it over, because The Thing to me is its own standalone movie. As a standalone movie, even though it has a prequel and
it's
a remake.
It's a remake.
And it's a remake, exactly.
I was just saying
yeah.
it's a remake that's a prequel, but mostly a remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there is a prequel to the. Yeah, it's whatever. I think as a standalone movie, it's so well crafted, and it really could have tanked, and it didn't, and it to me was spectacular. Whereas Alien, as an individual movie, the concept is more justified throughout the series, and I've always been one to think that like because of that justification, because that needed justification later on, that to call Alien a better movie than The Thing as its own entity would be
Totally
kind of a disservice almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I disagree. I think Aliens on its. I haven't seen Aliens or any of the next movies, but so I've only seen Alien, and on its own, I think it's terrific. I think I thought it was the better movie. Maybe that's just because The Thing is a little campy. It's a little campy. But my take on the two, and this is that, have you ever seen the meme? It's a Top Gear screenshot where he's like,
I love Top Gear.
This is brilliant, but I like this. That's my take. I think Alien's a better movie. Alien is brilliant, but I like The Thing. That's how I looked at it coming into this show.
Okay.
But
I think Alien was more influential on cinema.
Yeah.
But I think The Thing was more influential for horror. It's really funny because John Carpenter, as you'd see later in his filmography, he loves the trope of you do not know who to trust. Mm-hmm. We gotta talk about They Live. Holy shit! We gotta talk about They Live.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about They Live. But that's definitely for thing. I gotta make sure. I was recently told by someone that They Live is weird in its political connotations, so I might have to look more into that before we do a review on it.
It's a statement. John Carpenter was a political statement. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe we have to do a little more research into that. But
So then, one of our final things that we're gonna do then, we're gonna say final thoughts and then final ratings. So.
Okay.
Nick, let's start with you. Final thoughts.
So I feel like I have like what I just said was my final thoughts, and I think I can't really put it better than what I just said. The Thing is absolutely more of an influential movie, and I understand why. For sci-fi horror, it is the classic, and I totally see that. In my opinion, I do think The Thing is a better, well-crafted movie all around. However, not much. For me, like I said, the logical issues or maybe it was the direction. I feel like maybe I'm convinced that the direction of the Alien was not how I liked it. However, again, I'm not going to say it was a bad movie because
really, Scott,
it wasn't.
Gone through some shit. He's gone through some low periods, high periods. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I would personally rate The Thing higher at like a 9.5, and then I think I'd give Alien like 8.9.
Okay.
Both movies still influential, like you said, Bill, but I think I just personally liked The Thing better.
Yeah. Do you guys want me to go next, or do you guys want to jump in? All right, so then I'll go.
All right. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, so I've been fighting a little bit more for The Thing than Alien, but I'm just going to give my rating right away. I'd give both of them 10 out of 10s. As you guys
Holy
know, I
shit.
don't think a film has to be absolutely perfect to get a 10 out of 10. I'm not one of those people.
No, Ryan, you don't understand our philosophies. Your philosophy of movies can be 10 without being perfect, and my philosophy that there is no perfect movie is directly conflicting. No, it's okay. It's okay.
The Blair Witch close-up again.
Yeah, I know. That was brutal. That was brutal.
That's some character development for Bill. Going
I definitely don't do that
Blair
twice.
Witch to imitating it.
I rarely do it, and I did it twice this episode. See what you brought out of me, Ryan?
I know, you're welcome. I brought out the Blair Witch in you.
It fell. That's why you don't think it's a movie. It's about you. It's all you.
My auto bio. Yeah, thanks, guys. I love it.
Oh, man.
Sorry, what were you saying, Ryan? Sorry.
Yeah, so I'd give them both 10 out of 10s because I think they were both so influential in different ways. Like we said, Alien just so influential to sci-fi, while The Thing was more influential to horror. And although they're both sci-fi movies, they both do different things better. They both do different things. I don't want to say worse because I don't think there's nothing that's bad in either movie. Like it's very like with flaws. It's like nitpicks with each movie. It's not like wow, this scene bad, you know. So I really like both movies. I personally like The Thing more. I have more of a connection to it. I feel like because it was one of the first horror movies that I ever saw. So I always loved it more. That's why I have two different copies of The Thing. I have the nice steelbook of it.
Wow. Steelbook.
Wow,
Such
that's
a good
cool.
steelbook.
Holy shit.
I don't even remember. Is there something on the inside? No. And then I also have the collector's edition. The
Wow.
Thing,
Wow, looks great.
Wow.
Looks great.
which I don't have an Alien movie, but I will. I want to get a steelbook of Alien. That's why I haven't
Nice.
gotten it. But yeah, so those are my thoughts. Love both of them. Highly, highly recommend. And let's go on to Dylan.
Final thoughts first. I don't think we touched upon it enough. Just how good the special effects are in both, but especially The Thing. It's just so fascinating. All the tiny intricate details on The Thing when it's attacked and like when it's that crab crawling head and like all just and of course the famous biting scene where his arms rip off. And actually, not to get off on a tangent and prolong the length of the episode. They had the stuntman they used for that scene actually has double amputated arms, and they had prosthetic arms added onto him.
No
and
way.
They were made out of Jello too. I saw an interview with the special effects designer.
Oh, wow.
And
that's cool.
And they cut off the Jello arms that were added onto his actual arms that he still had to create that scene. But and one last dig at Alien before I make a complete 180. The strobe lights in Alien, like I'm not even sensitive to that sort of thing, but it bothered me. There were too much of a strobe effect in the movie. But I think both are fantastic. The Thing was one of my favorites going into Alien, and I thought that there was no way I'm gonna like this as much as The Thing, and I still personally like The Thing better, but I think I would rate Alien higher. So I think I will give Alien like a 9.5, and I think I would give The Thing like a 9. So
nice.
Very good.
I guess it's me then. It's me. So my big thing is that like I don't want to like do a thing like obviously like Alien was like extremely influential sci-fi thing, extremely influential horror, kind of cross-pollination between each other. My thing is that when I think of Alien, I think of the set pieces. I think of them descending into the egg chamber. I think of the chest burster. I think of Ash's fucking head getting knocked off, which is something that we did not talk about nearly enough. Him sweating fucking white. What a weird thing. And like just like the thing, like the self-destruction sequence, the inside of the mother computer, the whole thing with that. So I think of it in set pieces. It's really and when I think of the thing, and the same thing, I think of the creature. And I think of the power of the creature, and I think about how that's such an unwinnable situation. But really, they're both kind of unwinnable situations in a way, and I think that's what makes them such good movies, because they do sort of win, or do they? You know, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like you know. But I would give personally, I think I have my two pieces of trivia. Do you want my ratings first or the trivia? I think it's up to you, Ryan.
Ratings.
Alien 9.6, Thing 9.3. But really, they are fantastic. They're really fantastic. My big thing, in the Alien, do you remember when they're in the weird chain area, and they have to have Jonesy react to something, and it's reacting to the alien? But the thing is that they had to have Jonesy get a really negative reaction to something, so they actually had a dog in a box, in like a clear box.
Wow.
And they opened up the thing, and so that the dog couldn't get out, but that Jonesy could see the dog, and that's why the cat is like at like
wow.
and so that's I thought it was really cool. But the thing is that in the thing, I love that. I'm gonna keep making that. Do you guys know the famous thing with I think my thing moved slightly. You guys know? yeah, right, it did.
So much emotion.
Do you know the cinematography thing with the movie and eyes? Do you guys know about this? This came out a few years ago. Yeah. I almost don't want to say it. Maybe you guys will have to do your own research. But basically, there was a cinematographer that worked on the thing that there is a heavy link between eye gleam and thing possession.
Oh.
And you can, and if you follow that logic, you know who is thinged and who is not thinged throughout the progression of the movie. And also, it sheds some light on events that may have happened after they destroyed
the ending.
So.
Whoa!
Definitely.
Say there's a few things with the ending.
However, if you guys are gonna like follow this eye thing, it's full way. First of all, look it up so you guys know what I'm talking about. And second of all, you gotta watch the full movie. Just don't skip to the final scene. But
damn!
Anyway,
that was exactly what I was gonna do.
Okay,
there's other hints too, with it at the end.
Oh, really? Okay. Like what?
So when you see the breath, you know, you can see one of the characters has a lot of, you know, that mist that comes out, another character doesn't. Or does, depending on when you watch the movie, what you see. And one more thing, what was actually in the bottle is another thing that's brought up a lot.
Yep.
Oh, like if it was like blood?
No, if it was oil.
If it was tainted, yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of interesting things. That's why I like the thing a lot. It's like a mystery.
Yeah.
It's like a whodunit almost. Yeah, that's cool. That's
And I think it has so many different fan theories that you could make of different things. But
look into the eye gleam theory. Yeah, very
that's
interesting.
very interesting.
Right.
Very interesting. Worth the rewatch, which I did, and immensely satisfying. If you've already seen the film, like without knowing that info. Which, oh god, oh shit, nobody watch it without.
Three times.
Nobody watch it unless if
you haven't watched it, unhear what Bill just said.
Yeah. Simply void it out of your memory. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Dylan, we have one question for you.
Oh.
That we do for every guest that we have on the podcast. And our question is, what is a goal that you have for yourself?
My goal is a pretty boring one, and that is to get very good grades my second semester or year of law school.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good goal.
Fine. That's a fine goal. Yeah, and I could say the same. But like, yeah.
Yeah. So we like to ask that because we like to know. We like to know what people's goals are so we can invite them on the podcast again. If they've achieved it, how they're working towards achieving it. So
Yeah. A little continuity there.
exactly. So thank you,
and
Dylan, for coming on to the podcast. Is there anything you would like to plug?
No, there's nothing I would like to plug. I just want to thank you guys for having me, and it's really cool to go from like a fan listener to a participant.
Whoa!
And
Good to have you.
I just want to say one thing that I listened to the Thanksgiving episode.
How did I know you were going to say that?
I was on my way. I was on my way home from getting a COVID test, and you know how you're like, after a test, you're anxious. Like even if you know it's unlikely, you're anxious. Like, oh, what if I have it? Oh no, like the consequences. But that, like, I was driving, and that episode had me like I was laughing so hard while driving. But that episode really that made me feel better after getting that test. So
that's so nice.
Well, thank you. I'm
thank you.
happy to do so.
Thank you. Have you seen the movie though?
No, I can't
my
say
God.
I can't say that episode convinced me to watch it.
You're telling me that turkey asking a dude, or the dude asking a turkey, ass, gas, or oh shoot, what was the last one? Ass, gas,
or
Glass or something?
no, wait, it's isn't it stuffing joke or something?
Stuffed.
He said it like
Oh
he said
my
it so
God.
casual.
That was. Oh my god.
That's
That
quite
was
the movie.
so fucking
That's quite
crazy.
the movie.
I
That's
don't think
quite
I
the
don't
movie.
think I could watch Thanksgiving 3. And I know that they literally skipped Thanksgiving 2. Like they were like, no, we're just gonna do Thanksgiving 3 as the sequel.
Yeah.
I don't think I can watch it.
Oh,
We're
man.
finding a different Thanksgiving movie next time.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
maybe we could-
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, we're happy to have that calming. Have you distract that from anxiety. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it was just nice having you on, Dylan. I was happy. I was genuinely every episode. We'd love to have you on again because obviously you got a lot of knowledge and there's a lot to say.
I'd love to be back. Whenever you're talking about 70s and 80s horror, which is,
Oh, my man!
I would
My
love
man.
to
We
be
definitely gotta have
back.
to do that. Yeah.
Although my
love
favorite
that.
horror movie came out in the 90s. I'll leave it at
Which
Nick
is-
knows.
You gonna reveal
Nick,
it?
you know.
Yeah.
Nick.
Yeah.
Wait, it's
Yeah,
not Blair
I-
Witch. No, please. Please!
No, it's
No,
not.
that was 2000. That was 2000.
It's not.
That was 2000.
It's not. Although it has been mentioned in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to prolong the episode any longer.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll leave it a
Okay, yeah,
cliffhanger.
yeah,
I'll
we'll
leave
talk,
it a
we'll talk.
cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk for after.
The last broadcast. I'm kidding.
Holy shit. Holy crap.
Yeah. All right.
Man. But thank you everyone for watching this podcast, and thank you again for being on. It's amazing fun to talk about this, to hear your knowledge of the movies. It was great. We'd love to have you back on at some point. For our listeners, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that we could entertain you guys during this time or whenever you're just listening to a podcast. I hope we can entertain you. That was the point of why we made this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait a second. We're entertainers?
Actually, we're TikTokers.
Did I make it? Mother? We're TikTokers. Hell no. Hell no. Nah, we could be
We made it. Yeah. Just like thank you for the listeners, those who have kind of tuned in. We hope, just to echo what Ryan said, we hope that we brought you some joy.
Anything to get
thank
us
you for
through this time. Bright skies ahead, though. Bright
Absolutely.
skies ahead, according
Yeah.
Bright skies.
Yeah,
We're excited.
yeah.
We're excited for what we have for the future.
I mean,
getting warmer.
to talk about kind of stuff with that, I mean, we have some videos planned, possibly in person with each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, that would be
I won't
fun.
say what because it's funner if you don't know.
Funner.
Just wait till our
Build some
live shows. live stream.
Exactly.
People can throw tomatoes at me in person. That'll be fun.
And we haven't decided what our next podcast episode is going to be on, but be on the lookout for it because it's probably going to be a lot of fun.
Nice.
And on that note, remember, don't talk to strangers. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
See you guys.